Hi everyone. So today I was not able to do both of my workouts, unfortunately. I simply didn't feel motivated, and after I had the first one done and I came home, I ended up taking a nap and just didn't have the time for it. So unfortunately, I'll be doing it tomorrow, but tomorrow was supposed to be a rest day anyway, so I guess I'm sort of doing two halves of a rest day instead of a full rest day, which works out, I guess. Got a lot of work done today, finishing up that thing I'm writing about the Colorado experiment, so I will probably be putting that out next week. It is not quite as long as I initially suspected, but it's still a huge chunk of it's a huge chunk of a thing. So, hopefully that'll get some traction. Hopefully that'll teach people some lessons. And I'm probably going to write a follow-up piece to it about high-intensity training, sort of the shortcomings and the benefits of high-intensity training, which is what the Colorado experiment is based around. And, yeah, so that's kind of my work cut out for me for the next couple of weeks in terms of just, personal stuff. Aside from that, today what I wanted to talk about is the fitness industry. And in particular, I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people don't really realize, which is that the fitness industry is first and foremost an industry. It's not here to help you get healthier. It's not here to help you get stronger or more muscular or faster or leaner or whatever. First and foremost, it's there to pay people's paychecks and put money in people's pockets. And I understand that, the same can be said of any industry. The same can be said about, video games or movies or, lawyers. Or, at any point, whenever you're interacting with anybody, you're paying someone for something, there's a contract that's agreed upon where, you're getting some kind of product and you're giving, the money that you've made with the product that you made with your own labor, etc. So it shouldn't be shocking that, when someone is trying to sell something to you, someone is trying to sell something to you. It's not necessarily because they really legitimately think that, it's really going to help you, or because they really care about, you and your life. Now, that's not to say that personal trainers don't. Obviously, for example, a lot of personal trainers care about their clients. And, it's not a lie to say that. But on the other hand, show me a personal trainer who, would love to do that job without getting paid for it. Or, who would love to do it without getting paid a fair wage. That's, that's the thing with work. It's work. You have to do work, and you have to get paid for it. Or, not have to, but ideally you get paid for it. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the industry where, there's just salesmen. There's just salesmen who just realize that, if they just act like salesmen and they try and sell a product, then they can make a lot more money than if they actually bother to take the time and sit down and care about people. And that's the case with a lot of the, the samey fitness industry, 15 minutes a day garbage that you see all the time. That's, that's not, that, for that part, it's nothing new. And sure, there's certainly the other end of the industry, which is good, caring, people who actually really believe in what they're doing and, and make it their life's work and really care about their clients and do their best to help them and probably help a lot more people than, just some random trainer at a gym. But at the same time, when there is money involved, you have to always question the motives of the person who's trying to sell you something. Always. You have to always ask yourself, do they really care? Is this really going to help me? Or is this just, they're just trying to get my money? And I'll say that, I've seen it a lot. I've seen a lot of people, sort of exaggerate the claims about what they can do and how they can help their clients to, convince them to buy. And, it happens naturally. It's not like everyone, sits down and cackles about it and it's like, oh, I'm going to trick this guy into buying this product. No, like you're You're always trying to put your best face on because you always want to make a sale. You always want to, catch a new client or, sell some more books or something. So, of course, you're going to try and put your best self out there, even if that means fudging the numbers a little bit or trying to make it seem like, the thing that you're selling is more useful than it actually is. So, there's a lot of common ones that are out there that a lot of people fall prey for constantly and don't realize what the problem is. And one of those problems, like, there's a lot of them, but I'll say that one of the big ones, for example, is supplements. Supplements are 9 times out of 10 useless. The most effective supplements that we have, I could list on one hand. It's basically protein powder, creatine, maybe some BCAAs, maybe some caffeine, and like maybe a multivitamin. That's like the only 2 supplements that I can universally recommend as actually being good and useful in most situations are protein and creatine. That's it. A lot of the other stuff is just pointless fluff. But we have this bizarre feedback loop in the industry where bodybuilders and other, professional worker-outers, gym rats, they want to make money, right? They want to be recognized for the massive amount of time that they put into the gym, perfecting their physique, perfecting their performance, whatever. So the only place that they can do that is, A, they can compete in, like an actually popular sport, which is not going to happen because that's just not what they're into. Or B, they can look for sponsors. And sponsors are always supplement companies. Oh, always. Not always, but, again, 9 times out of 10. And so when they're selling you a supplement, it's not because they necessarily use it or because it necessarily does anything, but because supplement companies have devised a system that works. You get some really jacked guy or girl to, to say, hey, this product is great. People buy it, most of these supplements don't do anything at all. And, the science behind them is shoddy at best. And then, people buy it and it doesn't do anything. Or maybe maybe there's some placebo effect and they convince themselves that it did something. And, at the end of the day, money has changed hands. The bodybuilder is, finally pulling in some paychecks. The supplement industry is making its money. And, like, the poor folk, have paid for it. Maybe they realize that they've been had. Maybe they don't. Or, but, whatever. It's too late. They've already spent the money. They've already eaten the pill. It's gone. They've already digested it. You can't get a refund on that. So a big one is protein powder, for example. Protein powder it's an amazing supplement. It's great. It's useful. At the same time, you will see bodybuilders recommend massive amounts of protein, way more than your body actually needs. The science basically says that anything much above 0.8 grams per pound of body weight per day doesn't get used to build more muscle. It could be used for energy, but at that point you might as well eat something else because protein tends to be more filling than your carbs, for example. So if the point is to be getting a lot of energy or to be bulking up or whatever, you could just be eating tastier and less filling carbs instead, and not feel bloated from all the protein. But you see stuff like fucking Rich Piana saying, hey, you should drink 16 protein shakes while you're doing my 6-hour arm workout. Or, sorry, 8-hour arm workout. 16 protein shakes? If I assume that that's, like 25 grams of protein per shake, which is, probably about average, you're looking at 400 grams of protein. No one needs that much. Like, I need about 160. Like, the biggest guy in the world needs about, like, not the biggest guy in the world, but, like, a 300-pound guy needs, like, 240. A 400-pound guy needs, like, 320. But you'll see bodybuilders recommend 2, 3, like 2 or 3 times your body weight in grams per day, which is absurd. And then people are like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, maybe this is why I'm not a bodybuilder, because I didn't eat enough protein. That's it. Oh, man. Like, no, it's just like that's just that like. I wonder how much of that is bodybuilders actually believing that they need that much protein because they've just been, that's been bro science, it's just been ground in their heads, and how much of it is just, blatant buy my protein, like, oh, if I convince them they need more protein, then they'll buy more of my protein, or, somebody's protein at least. Like, again, I don't think this is a conscious thing. I don't think that bodybuilders, again, sit around and cackle, over like a stew pot, but the point is that these things happen, and it becomes this loop, this self-sustaining loop where bodybuilders and then customers and the protein, it just it just keeps going around and around, and it just fills people's pockets. It doesn't help people. It doesn't make them. It doesn't necessarily make them healthier or better, because a small amount of protein is all that you need, but they can make more money if they convince you need a lot more. And it's the same, there's plenty of trainers who are just awful garbage trainers. They just take their clients' money and they give them a good sweat and they make them think that they're doing something, and they see maybe like some minor results, and that's about what it amounts to. And there's plenty of, it's built into every level too. It's built into, like, I went to the Perform Better Functional Training Summit last year, and so it's ostensibly it's a summit that's aimed at teaching trainers to train their clients more effectively and more safer, etc. But that's not actually what it was, because if you went down the roster, yes, there's a couple high-level strength and conditioning coaches. Mike Boyle was there. Stuart McGill was there to talk about spines. He's a freaking genius when it comes to spines. He's the genius. But the vast majority of the people that were there were equipment sellers, or they were program sellers, or they were people that were, this was literally a summit or a conference, ostensibly, but for the most part, it was just a place for people in the fitness industry to sell things to other people in the fitness industry. Like, it was a sales convention, like it was a trade show. Like, it wasn't, like, the vast majority of the stuff was not actually about helping your client. Yeah, sure it was. There was that little bit of information there that draws you in and makes you think, okay, this guy's got some good stuff. And then it's, oh, buy my program, or, here's the newest thing that, Liebert has invented, since the equalizer doesn't bring him enough money, I guess. It's stuff like that, and you follow the money and you realize that, yeah, like, again, you don't think that people do this intentionally. Maybe some of them do, but for the most part, they probably think they're doing good, but they're really just trying to line their pockets, and they're really just trying to, and of course, like, that's me too, like, the thing is that you have to understand, when someone's giving you something for free, like, I'm giving you these videos for free, I'm spending my own time to talk to you. When someone's giving you something for free, it's usually because, if they're smart, they're trying to turn that into convincing you to buying something later. Because if they can convince you to buy something, suddenly your contribution to their life has gone from $0, which is the same as everyone else on the planet, to whatever amount of money, which is like an infinite, not an infinite increase, but you get the idea. It's a massive increase. Even if, I convince 10 people to give me $5, that's $50, And so, like, I've seen so many things. I manage a mailing list, and it's obnoxious to see, like, you see people that they get 20 emails of free info. Here, here's all this free info. Here's more free info. Here's more free info. Here's, and then you send them one sales email, and they're miffed about it. They're like, oh, how could you possibly try and sell something to me? Well, because you got all this stuff for free, and, someone obviously had to put the time and effort into making it, and you're expecting to just, like people have to make money somehow, and yeah, and that's hardly, like, the most flagrant thing in the industry. there's much worse stuff than someone giving you, a bunch of good info and then, saying, hey, do you want to spend $5 on my ebook? Like, it's silly. It's silly on one hand, kind of the degree to which it's an industry and money is built into every layer of it. But then on the other hand, how people expect to get as much as they can for free with no, without... and, yeah. There's just, it's money. It's capitalism. It's money. That's what it is. So yeah, don't go into the fitness industry. Don't look at fitness stuff and think, oh, everyone in the fitness industry is 100% thinking about my interests and has my best interests at heart. If someone is making money off of something, stop and pause and take a look at it and see what their motivation is, because money is a serious motivator. It can very subtly and, it can twist things when you don't expect it. So, that's my rant for today. As always, like, comment, share, and, yeah. I've got a few more user questions piling up, so I'm probably going to do another user questions video tomorrow. So, of course, if you have anything, let me know. Alright, have a good night.